Hey folks, welcome to the show. We had some pretty serious technical difficulties recording this episode, so we may sound a little bit off this week as a result. In particular, I'm going to sound kind of like shit and soft and echoey and just generally bad, so please forgive the brief drop in sound quality this week. We will have all our issues figured out by the time we return to you. Thank you for your understanding, and enjoy the show.
Welcome to Space Fiction, the podcast where I can't wait to vicariously live out my space-based fantasies where two characters with ginormous libidos face off in a battle of width, girth, or length. Ooh. This week, we have Commander Fem Shepard versus Captain Kirk.
I didn't like that one bit. Not one bit.
Not one bit. You liked it a little bit, Dan. Come on.
Maybe a little bit.
A little bit. Just
I have a bad feeling about this.
In space, after a particularly rough mission of assembling model ships and feeding her ginormous tank of fish, Commander Jane Shepard is in a rut. Yeah, she's a Spectre, the savior of humanity, a badass, blah blah blah. She feels like she's missing some excitement in her life. She thinks to herself, I know what to do. Space Tinder. After setting up a profile, she gets distracted by some lengthy weapon calibrations, but then gets a match for a hottie who wants to meet at a cantina on a planet named Tatooine. Oh hell yeah! She tells Joker to redirect. In a galaxy wrong thing. In a galaxy where no man has gone before, a brave, rugged hunk of a man named Captain Kirk is excitedly swiping left on Space Tinder. Nope. Nope. Oh wait. What is this we have here? An absolute alien babe comes back as a match for the young captain. She says, "Ooh, meet me at the cantina at Mos Eisley. There's a fun party there tonight. Winky face, XOXOXO." Kirk immediately commands Sulu to redirect to Mos Eisley. Both characters arrive at the cantina at Mos Eisley to meet their babes and realize they've been catfished by a promoter for this huge party. Those profiles were fake. The MC's microphone turns on. What's up, party people? Welcome to the single ready to mingle night at Chalman's Cantina, right here in the heart of Mos Eisley. Where are your MCs tonight? Food and Bead. Look at all you beautiful aliens out there tonight, and whatever the huts are. Don't hurt us. We've got some great drinks. We've got some great drinks up here at the bar and some great things at the bar to eat. And of course, we've got our famous cantina band mixing it up for the dance floor with some of the latest, most popular music. Play
Space
that same song. So everyone, have fun tonight, and please remember the Jawas are not party favors for you to take home. Please pay the fee of 500 credits to the bouncer and let's party! Both Kirk and Shepard reluctantly pay the fee and run into each other an hour later. Both not really feeling it, they strike up a conversation. After a couple women approach Kirk, oogling his military uniform, and a couple other people tell Shepard they loved her Citadel advertising spree for her favorite store, Kirk and Shepard begin to posture. Chest puff. I'm kind of a big deal, Kirk says. Sure, tough guy, Fem Shep says. After much discussion about their previous conquests, they determine that this cantina isn't big enough for the both of them. They agree to a game. Whoever can become the most popular person, take that for what you will, at the cantina tonight, gets to stay. Who's got the stronger game? I don't know. That is why I, Liz Logan, am your space judge today. Representing FemShep are Kit Mulcairn.
If you want a problem shot, ask a Turian. If you want a problem talked about, ask an Asari. If you want to make a problem worse, ask a Solarian. If you want a problem to be yelled about with increasing levels of irritation and interruptions, ask a Smash Fiction co-host.
And Colin Mulcairn.
You know me. I always like to savor the last shot before popping the heat sink.
Ugh. I don't like this at all.
Oh, Garrus!
Representing Captain Kirk are Dan Mulcairn.
All right, you guys are in for... Oh, whoops, wait a second. I just tore my shirt open somehow.
And Miles Schneiderman.
I'll bet your phaser is always set on Stunning.
Oh god.
In order to determine who comes first,
Really?
the contestants were locked in a room with me in a battle of who could make me more uncomfortable first.
There's no winning that battle.
I better have won.
Oh, looks like Captain Kirk finished on top. Haha, yeah, they did. Haha. Okay, beam me up, Captain Kirk. Ugh, that would make one more sense if I was a dude.
Ladies and gentlemen, James Tiberius Kirk may look like a man. He may walk like a man. He may talk like a man. He may talk with the widely spaced pauses of a true intergalactic Casanova like a man. He may walk with the strutting confidence of peerless sex appeal like a man. He may even look like every mythological god of love throughout the cosmos got together for an orgy and had a baby together like a man. That's because James Tiberius Kirk is a man. But his manhood is to mine as a tunnel boring machine is to a drill bit. They have the same purpose and generally use the same techniques, but with one of them, you're making tiny holes over and over to no great effect. With the other, you're carving massive passages through solid rock.
Yeah.
Now,
Am I supposed to be aroused?
No.
Hold on, let me write down.
I certainly am.
Is a man. Okay.
Is a man. Thank you.
So for the record, he's a man? Is that what you're saying?
Man.
Is it man or is it man?
He's a man.
Okay.
Now, Dan, I know that you were hoping to do a Dan list. Hashtag Dan list.
Hashtag Dan list.
But dude,
You just did a man list.
Yeah. It would take the whole fucking hour. I mean, you'd have to start with Carol Marcus, who's the mother of his son. How many kids does Shepard have as proof of virility? None. And then, of course, there's Edith Keeler, Kirk's truest love, a woman who was a match for him in almost every way, and who he successfully romanced despite being displaced in time and trying to save the future of humanity. Has Shepard ever operated at warp factor 69 in those types of conditions? No! And speaking of saving entire species while weird time shit is going on, the sterile alien queen Deela actually sought Kirk out and dragged him into her own timeline so he would sleep with her, thus ensuring the survival of the next generation of her race. So this woman basically said to herself, I need someone with sperm so amazing that he will jumpstart the process of evolution, and then said to her subjects, get me James T. Kirk! And that's not even talking about Miramani, I think that's how you pronounce her name, the space Indian, space Native American, who Kirk married and impregnated because she thought he was a god. Yeah, turns out the sex god analogies weren't actually that far off the mark. And there are more, of course, but I think that's enough for
Well,
now.
hang on, Miles. You've barely even scratched the
Oh my
surface of
God.
the different humans and aliens that Kirk has given the old Zap Brannigan to. There was Janet Wallace and Janice Lester, two different Federation scientists, Drusilla, an alien slave girl, Shauna, a green-haired dominatrix gladiator, Antonia, his horseback-riding bae from Generations. There was Ariel Shaw, an attorney who was assigned to prosecute Kirk, but by the end of the trial she was relieved that she failed to prove him guilty, and she stole a kiss from him on the bridge of the Enterprise. There was Elan, an alien princess who fell in love with Kirk because he was the only being in the universe who had ever refused to allow her to boss him around. Keep in mind, those are only the relationships that we see on screen. With his usual behavior and his attitude toward women, and the fact that he had a 30-year career traveling the galaxy with Starfleet, it's very possible that his romantic encounters are in the triple, if not quadruple digits. Now, am I saying that Captain Kirk was intended to be the Wilt Chamberlain of the future? I mean, no one can know for sure what Gene Roddenberry was thinking, but I feel confident in saying with 100% certainty that yes, he was.
Dude, the Wilt Chamberlain comparison is actually kind of insulting. Did Wilt Chamberlain ever defeat sexy but evil android women by making them fall in love with him and confusing their programming? Kirk did twice. What about Martia, the shapeshifter Kirk nails on Ruapente? Or Ola, another one of Kirk's wives, only who also happens to be small and furry? Oh, and you remember Commander Elizabeth Shelby, the woman who challenges Riker for command of the Enterprise in Next Generation? Kirk slept with her great-great-great-grandmother and her great-great-great-grandmother's sister and her great-great-grandmother. Yeah, you just let that one sink in. Commander Shepard has had flings with, 8 or 9 people? Like, 10 if you count Morinth, I guess, but she better fucking well be the 10th one in that case. James Kirk can't walk through a crowded room without dozens of women and men, and probably things that don't fall into either category, throwing themselves at him, and it won't be long before they're all singing Mr. Tamarine Man.
Yeah, when compared with the romantic juggernaut who is James T. Kirk, Shepard falls short in just countless ways. With the exception of Shaira, a character who is basically literally a prostitute. Shepard's romantic options are all limited to military types that go on crazy adventures with her. Now, she definitely has a type, and she really only seems to be able to nail someone after they've been on dozens of life-threatening missions together. The sort of situation that could bring any two people together. The fact that she can hook up with Liara or Garrus really doesn't speak to her ability to seduce people, especially right off the bat in a one-night stand situation. Shepard definitely plays the long game. We really only see 2 points in the game where she can have a relatively quick hookup. So in Mass Effect 2, she can potentially hook up with Morinth, but this is really only possible because Morinth's mother Samara is coaching Shepard from the shadows the whole time. Oh, and incidentally, as Miles alluded to, if this hookup is completed, Shepard literally dies. In Mass Effect 1, the aforementioned tryst with Shaira requires a whole freaking side quest in a completely different part of the Citadel before Shaira invites Shepard back to her weird sex pod. Now, even this is unusually fast-moving for Shepard. Most of the time, she's really only able to effectively pursue one person at a time, and it takes about 30 to 40 hours of gameplay before you start seeing any horizontal mamboing. Shepard may have a bit of a reputation, but in practice, she's not really built for quick one-night stands. She's more about building longer-term relationships. If this was a match to see who could keep their shirt intact the longest, Shepard would win. If this was a match to see who could survive falling off an exploding bridge, Shepard would win. If this was a match to see who could protect an obviously disposable NPC from dying, well, that would actually probably be a draw.
Yeah,
but this match right here, Kirk was made to win this.
And in conclusion, insert your own where no man has gone before joke here.
Well,
That phaser's the bone.
Yep. That made me want to take a shower, and that's all I will say about that. Commander Shepard.
All right. I wrote this first paragraph without realizing you were going to go a weird Tinder route, Liz, so I'll just take that.
We assumed you were going to go a weird Tinder route. That was actually part of our planning process.
That's my running assumption for any match that Liz judges.
Okay, it's Space Tinder also.
Oh,
my
that's
apologies.
right.
My
Get it
apologies,
right.
space judge of space fiction.
Thank you.
I'm going to start off by stating the assumption that for the sake of this match, Shepard is being played kind of renegade, since she's probably come to this hive of scum and villainy to find the next clue to beating the Reapers, but instead saw an opportunity for a shore leave type of experience and doesn't feel like losing a bet to some melodramatic dude with a yellow sweater for a uniform. In a place like this, Kirk would have a better time just sitting back and watching. Shepard is seen as attractive, regardless of how actually fugly the player makes her. We've all made those, like, joke characters, okay? Maybe
I
it's
made my renegade Shep really ugly, so I
I will never understand video games.
Oh, they're so good, Miles. They're so good.
But besides her immunity to Butterface, Shepard is hot on the inside, too. Based on the psych profile you pick for her at the beginning, she's either a survivor, a war hero, or gets shit done regardless of who's in the way. All of those things make her a badass and make Shepard your classic Bioware leader, the kind that, as Miranda put it, makes someone willing to follow her into hell itself, and into the bedroom, judging by the 12 romantic options available over the course of the 3 main Mass Effect games. Part of the reason why she has so many options is because Shep is totally pansexual. Yeah. Pans represent. Okay. She's down to knock space boots with aliens whose biology is dangerously different from her own, require a lot of space lube to get around those hard spiky bits, and don't even have human faces. Most of us know who I'm talking about. Garrus. So dreamy. Garrus calibrates Shepard real good. But would Kirk ever go down on some spiky bird-looking, mandible-having alien chick? Hell no. The most alien babe he romances was Marta. She just looked like a green-skinned human. That's not weird. She kind of looks like She-Hulk. And She-Hulk is hella fine. What I'm getting at is, in this competition, Shep has a wide range of seduction options, while Kirk is going to be stuck looking for human-looking women who are few and far between in Mos Eisley Cantina. He'll be barely getting to first base with the first human-like woman he meets by the time Shepard's already getting on her 5-way with the Bith band members. Yeah. Someone draw that fan art, but do not show it to me.
Nope.
I'm gonna get some tweets.
So Kirk has this reputation of being this master seducer. We have this image in our minds of him traveling the galaxy and ending up in bed with some strange green alien woman about once every other episode. But I watched a good chunk of the original series in preparation for this match, and let me tell you, much like how no one in the original Star Trek ever says, "Beam me up, Scotty," Kirk also bangs a grand total of 0 green alien babes in the original series. The only time I saw a green-skinned alien that I was acting interested in was in the episode Whom Gods Destroy, and she was only acting interested in Kirk so that she could get close enough to pull a knife on him. According to the Sci-Fi Stacks exchange forums, we have confirmation that Kirk bangs 4 women over the course of the events of the original series, and each and every time, the women in question are only having sex with him because of weird external factors that have nothing to do with how desirable he is. The first woman that he has sex with is Drusilla in the episode Bread and Circuses. So Kirk is being held captive by bad guys on a planet that's basically ancient Rome. The bad guys send a slave girl to his room to entertain him, and this is pretty much identical to a scene from the 1960s movie Spartacus, when a slave girl named Varinia is sent to Kirk Douglas's cell to entertain him. Kirk Douglas refuses to have sex with the slave girl because he is a classy motherfucker, and he knows that this girl, being a slave, can't refuse him, making any sex that he would have with her non-consensual. So yeah, same scene as this episode of Star Trek, except wait, Kirk totally bangs the slave girl sent to his room against her will, no problem. Forget the fact that he comes from a supposedly super advanced and progressive society that's supposed to abhor slavery. Nah, man, when in space Rome, you pork the slave girls. What a classy guy this Kirk is. So the second woman that Kirk has sex with is in the episode called The Paradise Syndrome, when he loses memory on a planet full of Native Americans. Like exactly literal pre-Western contact Native Americans. And Kirk...
Native Americans.
Space Native Americans, my bad. From Space Native America.
That's right.
And Kirk, due to his amnesia, becomes convinced that he is a god named Kirok. And being a god, the tribespeople give him one of their priestesses to be his wife, a woman named Miramani. So he only got laid the second time because the woman in question thought he was a god. Moving on. The third woman that Kirk has sex with is in the episode Wink of an Eye, as you mentioned. The woman, Dila, from the alien race that is completely sterile, is having sex with Kirk because she believes that having sex with people that are not native to her planet might be the only chance to save her race from extinction. Again, nothing to do with being attracted to Kirk. And finally, the fourth woman that Kirk bangs is in the episode Elan of Troyes, as you mentioned. So the Enterprise is tasked with escorting Elan, an Elasian noblewoman, to the planet Troy so that she can marry a Troyan noble and secure peace between their two planets, Alas and Troyes. Elan is seen throughout the episode being incredibly emotionally volatile and impulsive, and she repeatedly states that she hates the Troyans and does not want to be married to one of them. And then she bangs Kirk. She claims to be in love with him, totally out of nowhere, says that she wants to marry him and be with him forever, despite the fact that she just met. And you know what this says to me? It says that this is a person who is attempting to sabotage her own arranged marriage so that she doesn't have to go through with it. She might feel really intensely for Kirk because her people... Sorry. She might feel really intensely for Kirk because her people are really emotional and... What's that?
Said stop eating so many carrots. They're making you sick.
I'm not carrots. They're just coming back up now. When I talk fast, the carrots come back up. This woman might feel really intensely for Kirk because her species is crazy emotional and feels things really intensely, but if Elan were not facing an awful arranged marriage at the end of this journey, she would have never gotten down with Kirk. Also in this episode, Kirk has the wonderfully sexist quote, "Mr. Spock, the women on your planet are logical. That's the only planet in the galaxy that can make that claim." So, he's going to be a real charmer with the ladies. Why is it that every time Kirk gets with a woman, there is some external force pushing them on each other? Because without weird convoluted MacGuffins serving as his perpetual wingmen, the paunchy two-paid captain of the Enterprise would never, ever, ever get any action, green or otherwise. I think that's enough information for now. I should go.
Okay, on to rebuttals.
So, first of all, Colin, I just want to say a couple of things. A, it's not my fault that you don't know enough about Star Trek to realize that the iconic green-skinned woman is a Captain Pike thing, not a Captain Kirk thing.
I know, it was from the episode The Cage, which was the first one, but yeah. I'm just saying that...
Well, you know what? Yeah. The fact that that happens to be the iconic version of Kirk in your mind when it's not even Kirk is not my problem. That's all I'm saying. Second of all, I find it very amusing that you feel the need to use these strange distraction tactics like, for some reason, bringing up Spartacus and trying to find the sexist, anti-feminist messages in a 60s TV show that probably wouldn't apply to a backwater place like Mos Eisley anyway. The fact of the matter is, even though...
Yeah, Mos Eisley is the space late 70s, early 80s.
Just because there's only 4 confirmed sexual acts in the original Star Trek doesn't mean there weren't many more than 4 sexual acts, dude. It was a 60s TV show, as we mentioned. They're not going to show every single thing that happens in that programming on the network, if you know what I mean. Plus, Star Trek has a huge variety of canon that stretches before and after the original series television show, and believe me, Kirk has gotten lots and lots of sex.
I'm aware that he's had more than that, but I was just pointing out the ones that we get to see in the most detail, which are those 4 canon ones that we get to see unfold. And I was just pointing out the fact that
they're all canon, sir.
Well, okay, I was pointing out the fact that the ones that we get to see during the original series, we get to see in more detail, and these are probably, if things are degrees of canon, the most canon.
Okay,
and
so Colin, let me ask you that.
Canon.
Let me ask you, Colin, how many sex scenes do we see in Mass Effect?
you see,
you can get about 2 per game.
Yeah,
well,
hold on,
I mean, how
6
fancy.
then.
Because by your standards, by the standards by which you're judging Kirk, I count 1. The one with Liara in Mass Effect 1. Everything else is implied, which is basically what we're dealing with Kirk.
Well, all of the ones in this are implied as well to the same degree. They'll show him, like, kissing somebody and then, like, snuggling up with them. But, like, the ones in Mass Effect are way more explicit than anything in
we've got,
Star
like,
Trek.
200 implied ones, Colin.
Yeah, I disagree
But
on
regardless,
that.
it's not
Why
about
do
the
you-
number. It's about the fact that these women were not just having sex with Kirk because they thought he was, like, sexy and awesome. It was, like, all these other things. Everyone that Shepard bangs, it's because they like Shepard.
Oh, okay. So you mentioned Deela, who was, like, just trying to find new people to restart her race or whatever. So that's
Yes.
why she goes around the crew of the Enterprise, making sure every other person is out of the way, every other person being a different alien species, mind you, and solely chooses Kirk out of all of them.
Maybe she likes yellow sweaters. You don't know.
There are other people on that ship wearing yellow sweaters, kid.
Maybe
But
they
his is the
fugly.
most guilt.
Kirk is
All
the
right,
sexiest one there, man.
Well,
Your
bonus.
words.
We can get a pretty good idea of these characters' romantic approaches by examining how the 2 characters go into combat. So Shepard wears armor and a force field, and typically goes in carrying 2 to 5 different firearms. Now, what this tells me is that she's cautious, careful, she wants to be prepared, she maybe even is a little timid. You know, she's the type who will spot someone attractive from across the room and spend like a solid hour planning out every possible approach and outcome, only moving forward if and when she's certain that she can handle and control the outcome. She abandons the mission otherwise. Now, Kirk, he walks into battle with a sweater and a Buck Rogers gun. This isn't a man who cares about caution. He's confident in his own abilities. He trusts that he'll be able to handle whatever comes his way. When someone catches his eye, he doesn't hang back and weigh the options. He sets a course and engages maximum warp. So let me tell you, confidence and a cavalier attitude will get you much further in romance than timidity and caution will.
Is
Real quick.
maximum warp like space 1 minute man? is that what it is?
I'm saying he's at that bar, buying a drink, giving that sort of like, you know, half-lidded
Giving that
eye
butt-faced
smirk.
alien a look? I don't think so.
Which is a great point, Dan, because everything I'm hearing is about sex. Sex. Get your minds out of the gutter.
Never.
This is not about sex. This is about being the most popular person at the bar and hooking up with the most people, regardless of the sexual contract being entered into. And in that regard, Kirk's track record speaks for itself. Oh, you have 12 options to choose from? Oh, I can list you off like 20 right now off the top of my head. Women that are romanced by Kirk, they don't want anything from him. Carol Marcus didn't want anything from Kirk. She was in love with him. Edith Keeler didn't need anything from Kirk. She was in love with him. He is an incredibly magnetic personality, and for you to attempt to refute that only casts a negative light on your own attempted argument, sir. And Matt.
Okay, that's enough.
I mean,
stop.
okay.
Bonus question for Captain Kirk. We like role-playing on this podcast, right? What would you say to a blue tentacle lady Twi'lek to make her like you?
Those are beautiful tentacles. They'd look even better wrapped around my legs.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes. That's exactly what I was looking for.
I think he would just sidle up to her and just like slide a particular hentai DVD across the bar and then just look at her. That's
sorry.
it. No words.
I want to quickly revise my answer.
Go ahead.
Those are beautiful tentacles. They would look great wrapped around my legs.
Oh god, I just space vomited in my space mouth.
That's good. Femship.
Can
You're up.
we respond to what we would say to the blue alien lady?
No, because you're not talking to a blue alien lady.
Oh, I have a thing.
You are talking to a Rhodian.
Oh, shit.
What do you say? I know what I would say.
I know what I would say.
If you shoot first, I'll definitely shoot second.
I have no time for smugglers that drop their shipments at the first sign of an Imperial cruiser. Even I get boarded sometimes.
Oh.
I like that. Commence rebuttals.
I was saying I disagreed with, like, the speculation that he's in, like, the triple or quadruple digits of space bangery. I mean, I know we're all about speculation, but that's a bit much even for this podcast. So from what we can see in the show, there's a fair amount of episodes in the 3 seasons. He's only had any level of romantic relation with, like, between 26 to 30, but most of that is smooching. And that does take, like, a good amount of, like, the episode's time to get to
I'm
possible
pretty sure
smooching.
if he smooches every girl in this bar, he's gonna beat you.
He's
Is
gonna
he
smooch
going
2
to-
girls because
Yeah.
that's all. Have you seen the Mos Eisley Cantina? It's not full of like hot alien babes or human babes. It's like all a bunch of weird aliens that I don't know if Kirk's gonna be into that.
I think Kirk is into whatever's in front of him, my friend.
He has not shown that at all. He's all into the human-looking babes.
Well, you haven't seen him with 3 pints of blue milk in his stomach, though.
Yeah.
Like, he's...
You're right, I haven't seen it.
I'm
That's
sorry,
not in the
did
show.
you not hear the part where I talked about the small, furry, naked creature from the planet Lyra?
That was his wife.
Yeah, that was his wife.
Which episode is that? Because clearly I missed a gem.
That is legitimately an episode.
Small
What
furry
episode?
naked
That was actually from the novel The Starless World.
Oh, the
right.
novel. Great.
Oh, it's
Wonderful.
a novel.
All right, first of all,
it's a novel. Oh no, smash
books
fiction.
aren't real.
It's
Anyway,
not my
okay.
fault that your character is too lame to appear in any other medium.
Actually, well,
Hey, there have been
yeah.
Mass Effect novels and comic books.
Yeah.
Don't even.
Anyway,
Oh,
And when
um,
Shepard is
You wanna talk
referred to
dramatic
only
pauses.
tangentially.
You want to talk dramatic pauses? This is a BioWare game. You know how much time I spend pushing my analog stick in different directions through the analog wheel
Oh yeah,
trying to
no,
decide.
tell me more about you pushing your analog stick, Colin, please.
Oh,
I
I
want to hear
totally
more
will.
about that.
First of all, you dare to degrade Shepard for having sex with a prostitute, a woman who happens to be a prostitute, but he has consensual sex with her, not for money, just like cuz. After Kirk had sex with a sex slave that was sent to his room.
Dude,
Oh, and
I wasn't degrading Shepard's experience with a prostitute. I was saying that outside of Sha'ira, literally everyone that she has sex with is a military type who's a companion on her ship. That shows to me that Shepard has experience with seducing exactly one type of person, and even then, it
about
takes
Jack?
dozens
What
of
about the
hours
random
to
hookup
do
with
so.
Jack?
yes, yeah, for actually, Jack is a very good point. But that brings me to Morinth. Morinth is proof, she's not a military type, to start, first of all. She's proof that Shepard can hook up with someone if she really wants to in a short amount of time.
As
Like,
long
that
as
was
they're
the point of that
poisoned.
mission.
Yeah, as long as they are basically a space vampire.
That doesn't even
Morinth is
matter.
incredibly-
How does her, like, killerness factor into this? It doesn't matter that Morinth is a killer. The fact is that Morinth is extremely picky. She was a very hard person to, like, trick into the lay.
I have a
yeah,
quote from
And
Morinth here, actually. She says, "Some nights I come here and there's no one interesting to talk to. Some nights there's just one person. Tonight it's you." That shows how incredibly discerning she is. And I mean, all the information that you get about her, you don't actually get it from Samara. You get it from going around the bar and talking to people and kind of like just figuring stuff out. You find about like her favorite band, the favorite drug she likes to take, her favorite movie, her favorite artist, and like all of her philosophies and stuff. You don't get that stuff from Samara. You have to get that by talking to Morinth and like, you know, going around the bar and figuring stuff out. If Shepard really wants somebody and it's somebody who hangs around the bar is like a regular, Shepard's going to do research and figure out how to seduce somebody in one night. And
He's gonna do
and
research.
I'm guessing that yes, Shepard's going to do research. That's how Shepard works.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. Unfortunately, in this particular video game, each character goes down their own paths, and other paths become closed. So I'm going to go ahead and assume that the version of this character we're seeing in this bar has not had sex with Morinth.
Well,
Why
given
are
that
you
she's
assuming-
alive, that's probably...
Well, no,
that's
but
probably
Miles, in the actual mission, you have to seduce Morinth but not have sex with her. Like, you have to seduce her and get her back to her apartment
Yeah,
and get her
it's
to
a
be
trap.
willing to have sex with you to get her guard down, and then you defeat her. You don't actually have sex with
Yeah,
her, but you
it's
do
a-
have to seduce her.
Yeah, you totally would, but that was, I mean, the point of the trap is to not actually fall into your own trap. Anyway, not important. The fact is that Shepard succeeds in getting someone that she wanted to get quickly. And also, can we talk briefly about Garrus? Garrus was not into human women before
I want to
Shepard.
talk about Garrus all the time.
I do.
He says, I've never considered cross-species intercourse. Basically, Shepard is capable of turning someone who's not into humans into humans.
Garrus is, yeah.
All right.
I'm not
enough.
going to get into it.
Enough. Time for the real competition once
Oh,
again.
boy.
Oh, no. The Rhodian thing was hard enough.
Sound effect. Ping. Thank you.
That was really tame lightning.
What do you mean lightning? What are you talking about, kid? What lightning would that be?
Oh, wait, my ears are perking.
Was that premature lightning? A little premature lightning, I heard?
Yeah.
Apparently 1 out of 5. I mean, it's not...
Stop with the innuendos.
1 out of 5 podcasts suffer from premature lightning rounds.
After the night at the cantina, both Commander Shepard and Captain Kirk received sternly worded letters from their respective military's public relations officers that can be summed up as, due to your outrageous and very public actions, you have damaged this military's reputation and values. You are now required to do something to help repair our reputation. Well, as it turns out last night, Kirk and Shepard were chatting up a fairly decent movie director named Georgina Lucas.
What the fuck?
They contact her and sit her down at a table to discuss a plan to spruce up their image. Literally. What better way to do it?
Literally? Are spruce trees going to be involved?
Damn it, Colin, beat me to it.
What better way to do it than have the great granddaughter of George Lucas direct them in a rom-com?
I was hoping it was George Lucas in a wig.
Except, once again, Shepard and Kirk can't both be in a movie at the same time, so it has to become a competition. Whose rom-com will impress the studio's executives the most to be released into a happy, happy world where everyone wants to see space adventures of love? What's the name of your rom-com going to be? And who is your co-star? Please give me a sample of the plot and how your character will once again come out on top. Damn it. In a switch-up of roles, Commander Shepard goes first.
I'm seeing that Commander Shepard is going to be in a romantic sort of like a supernatural romantic thriller in the vein of like The Lake House or The Time Traveler's Wife. That's going to be called Love Across Save Files, in which our commander FemShep ends up crossing universes with a male Commander Shepard from an alternate reality. And they end up serving on the Normandy side by side, and they originally are like kind of butting heads because our FemShep is a renegade and this male Shepard is a paragon, and you know they just keep butting heads, and you know Paragon Shepard comes in like, hey, I made you some cookies, and then Renegade Shepard like knocks him aside like whatever and like pushes him against a wall, you know. But then soon they come to respect each other's, you know, talents on the battlefield. Ours is a vanguard, and then this one's an engineer, and they're like, oh, we're so different. We could never get along. But, you know, eventually, when it comes that time before the final climactic battle, nah, there's no Ashley, there's no Liara, there's no Caden coming to the bedroom. It's just some hot Shepard-on-Shepard action.
Is that masturbation? Technically?
They don't care.
It's the worst.
That's totally cool.
It's the worst form of incest.
Or the best.
I don't know how well that would improve your image, but yeah, okay. That's got to be an actual fan fiction somewhere.
Oh, I am positive. In fact, let me find it right now.
In fact, I wrote it. Let me include now a link to my work.
I was thinking, I don't know, this is Smash Fiction, and this is supposed to be a rom-com, right? I'm not sure where the comedy aspect comes in that.
The first half, it's kind of like an odd couple situation. But
Okay.
sorry, continue.
I was gonna say, let's throw in Ryan Reynolds, or specifically Deadpool. Fuck it, we'll figure it out.
So he would be the 3 in your threesome? Actually, Deadpool would be down for that. I can see that.
Yeah, he fucking would.
Okay.
Happy Armistice Day.
Alright, pretty strong. Captain Kirk.
So I was thinking that if you're going to put Captain Kirk in a rom-com with somebody, it's got to be with somebody from an equally great, if not better, science fiction series. And really, when you're dealing with a woman who is recently tragically widowed.
Oh no,
And
Miles,
doesn't think that she can come back from the emotional brink. In short, when you're Zoe from Firefly,
I knew it.
what better,
Spoiler alert.
what
Jesus.
better man to come into your life than James Tiberius Kirk, who not only is a fair pilot himself, but can help heal those emotional wounds and help bring Zoe back to the life she has known and the friend she has loved. And frankly, while we're at it, we're going to take on the fucking Alliance, because he's James Tiberius Kirk, goddammit. Where's the comedy going to come from? The comedy's going to come from the fact that it's fucking Firefly, and also from the fact that you've got the whole Captain Kirk Mal Reynolds dynamic to deal with, where Mal totally doesn't want to sleep with Zoe. No, totally, absolutely doesn't want to do that. Hijinks ensue.
I'm going in a slightly to very different direction from Miles. My film is called Fast Times at Starfleet Academy. In it, a Midwestern boy from a small town in the United States comes to Starfleet Academy in San Francisco. Gets off the bus. He's bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, fresh-faced, really eager to make a splash at Starfleet Academy. This is, of course, Jimmy Kirk, as he's known in this, and he quickly runs afoul of the big woman on campus, Catherine Janeway. She ended up getting swept up in some sort of weird warp accident and ended up becoming a big old hero, and now everyone is a big damn hero, one might say, and everyone is looking to impress her, and Jimmy Kirk is no exception to this. And so, the two start off kind of adversarial. She sees him as just being one of a million people who are looking to impress her, but he does begin to impress her. He's smart, he's athletic, he's charismatic, but he's also humble, and he's just incredibly charming. But what really turns it, the moment at the end that really melts Janeway's disdain for him, is when Kirk learns her favorite song by her favorite artist. Her favorite artist is, of course, Elton John, and her favorite song is Rocket Man. And Kirk performs a thrilling rendition, a soaring and moving rendition of Rocket Man, reducing Janeway to tears. And she decides that, you know what? If I'm going on this voyage, it might as well be with Jimmy Kirk.
Oh, and also, he's going to sing Zoe a beautiful rendition of Zoe in the Sky with Diamonds. Thank you.
Oh, Jesus.
I am really glad you guys don't write rom-coms. I'm gonna go discuss. I'll be back.
So I just want to say, Colin, when you said when I talk fast the carrots come back, it sounded like vaguely Lovecraftian to me, and I almost lost my mind.
Literally, lost your sanity?
Yeah, it was so great.
You can't fuck with that sanity rating, man. The walls start to bleed. Can't get through the doors,
Miles, can we do some real talk for a second? Can we?
Are you? Dan is sitting on a chair backwards, and his baseball cap is also backwards.
That's correct. Can we wrap? Let's wrap.
Let's wrap, Dan.
So, Miles, I realize you have this thing about video games. Okay, I do. I don't know kind of what experiences you went through. If maybe you had a bad experience with Street Fighter when you were a kid.
Well, I mean,
maybe Myst said some unkind things about you.
No, I loved Myst, actually. I have some unkind things to say about Morrowind.
Okay, that's that's reasonable. Morrowind is fine, and it also has its flaws, so that's fine. Miles, you need to play Mass Effect. All right, it's just you need to play Mass Effect, and I'm sorry that I have to be the one to tell you this. It's not any easier for me than it is for you, but you need to play Mass Effect, and that's it. It's there, and that's the way I'm feeling right now. So
Miles, it's not your fault.
No,
it's not your fault.
It absolutely isn't.
Dan,
but
it's not your fault.
I feel bad about admitting this because I consider you a good friend and I don't want to hurt you. But you remember that video game you bought me for my birthday or whatever? I don't even know, last year or 2 years ago, something like that.
Yeah, Pillars of Eternity.
Yeah, haven't played it. And it's not
Miles-
and it's not because I don't want to. It's not because I think it's a bad game. It's not because I don't trust you as a recommender of video games. It's just because I don't fucking have time to play video games.
Well, it's very convenient for you to make excuses about this sort of thing.
You know that Telltale Games Game of Thrones game?
Yeah.
Love that game.
Yeah.
Never
that's
finished
a great
it.
game.
Never finished it. Don't have time.
Here's the thing,
It's not even
Miles.
that long.
I'm hearing a lot of excuses from you. I kind of feel like, yeah, you're spending a lot of energy like explaining why you're not doing it, but like, how about you expend that amount of energy just trying to do it? You know? You ever think about that? You ever look far down inside and just think, hey, I want to go on an amazing space adventure with my space friends and romance a bunch of space women. Yes, yes, Miles.
This week, I had the whole week off from my childcare job. Do you know what I did today?
What did you do today, Miles?
I constructed a ceiling fan, put mud on drywall, spent 4 or 5 hours editing part of a book that I'm writing, and wrote my open, or at least finished writing my open for Smash Fiction before attending a social event of the evening.
I was actually going to...
Social event. You could have spent that time playing Mass Effect.
Yeah, exactly.
What kind of fucking nerd are you?
Sorry,
You know how many
people
you
you
can
can
have
I was at a
social
movie
events with
my
in Mass
girlfriend.
Effect?
I apologize. I apologize for being out at a movie with my girlfriend.
So actually,
Girlfriend?
Girl, what?
Oh, I have a couple of quick things to throw in here. Miles, I've been listening to The Dark Tower Unspoiled, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yes, and it's super
happy
good.
about
I
it.
highly recommend anyone who likes The Dark Tower or thinks they might or likes Miles or likes cool things, check out the Unspoiled podcast, the sub-series on The Dark Tower. Basically, there's 2 hosts. One has read it before and one is reading it for the first time. And Miles is one of the 2 hosts, and it's awesome.
That's
So-
cool. I actually just saw a Facebook comment today. An unspoiled listener told me that he listened to his first episode of Smash Fiction.
Oh,
which
cool.
was Gandalf versus Dumbledore.
Nice.
And he says, and I quote, "Holy crap, that is possibly the single nerdiest experience I've had in years. So I'll definitely be referring all my friends."
Great.
boy.
Thanks, Nate.
Yeah,
Hello.
thank you.
I'm back.
Hello, Liz.
Hi, Space Judge.
Oh, I feel so disgusted after listening to all that. Wow, I think they both would be really great at bagging all the hotties. I think Commander Shepard would bang more aliens.
Yes. Such
Ah.
blasphemy.
Yeah, well, it must be nice to be so comfortable in your wrongness, Liz.
I'm telling you, Jennifer's voice.
I'm not denying that. I would never deny that.
And that's all right.
That
I
a
really
cultural
did
shock.
appreciate the one-liners. I was feeling some pulls in some places.
Oh,
Oh,
boy.
God.
Oh.
All right. We should probably go.
Special thanks to fan Matt Goranson for suggesting this very special matchup.
Yeah, so this came in, and we basically immediately realized that we had to do this one. So thanks for the
Yeah,
suggestion,
we
Matt.
jumped all over this
Oh.
one.
Carrie versus Matilda, our last regular episode, was suggested by Sam Gash, who's a friend of the show. Yeah, just so you know, he has a podcast called Rachel and Sam Read a Story, where him and his friend Rachel read children's books and then review them / make fun of them.
That sounds pretty fun, yeah.
Do they also
check it out.
explain the X-Men?
They do not. Rachel teams up with you for that one, I believe.
No, she's J now. Get it right.
We had a new review come in
Yes.
on iTunes. I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be Darth Revan, but the E has a little like hook on the bottom of it, so I don't. So Darth Revan said, "These people are hilarious, and they always choose really fun matchups. Glad I found this podcast. Can't wait to see what else they have in the future." So thanks. That was really fun to see. So
Thank
glad
you,
you're enjoying
Mr.
it.
Revon.
Or Miss.
Couple things on Facebook. First of all, a fan called Brett Greer left his little comment on the Facebook page saying that he loved the show. He suggested an archery showdown.
Yeah, we're gonna do that.
Yeah.
We're definitely doing that.
Yeah,
It
thank
is
you
in
for
the
letting
works,
us know.
Fred.
So this is a letter from longtime fan, podcast famous Andy Spurlock.
Oh yeah, podcast famous Andy.
The veritable source of such matches as Frankenfurter versus Jareth.
So he writes, Dear Smash Fiction team, often when dabbling with fandoms as viciously loyal as comic books, Star Wars, or Harry Potter, it is easy to make a mistake based on the sheer volume of information out there. It wasn't until the Deadpool vs. Dante episode, where it was invited to write in with issues, that I decided to give Dan in particular a piece of my mind about a severe misstep on his part. Dan. I'm speaking, of course, about his response to my last letter, where he stated he couldn't think of any boy bands that have 4 members. I'd give Dan the 3rd degree about this, but how about 98 of them? Very nice. Attached is a list of boy bands that have 4 members or less, so Dan doesn't make this mistake again. 5 Seconds of Summer, One Direction, Blue, Big Time Rush, and G4 to name a few. Best wishes, podcast famous Andy Spurlock, boy band expert. Thank you, Andy.
That was probably not exactly the sort of feedback we were anticipating.
I feel like this came up when we were recording that episode, and I edited out the conversation because we decided that all boy bands had 5 members. I feel so vindicated. Thank you, Andy.
Well, here's what I'll say. First of all, if I have to have a gap in my general knowledge and expertise, there are worse gaps to have than knowledge of specific number of people in the broad swath of boy bands out there. And number 2, Andy, if you're going to be pedantic with me, then you should have said it's boy bands with 5 members or fewer, not 5 members or less.
Okay, everyone tweet Dan like all the fucking boy band music videos.
All right, Stannis Brown.
It's all going in his spank bank. Don't worry.
Another little shout out on Twitter. It's from @Paladin Today, a longtime listener. Still loves us. He's having a hard time listening to the episodes, but when he does listen, it is so worth it. So that's really good to hear.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Yeah, thank you for listening to us from when we fucking sucked. Because wow, I've been listening to those early episodes again. Holy shit.
Yeah.
It can be hard to keep up with this amount of bullshit on a weekly time frame. I understand that.
Thank you, everyone, for writing in.
Yeah. Kid, did you want to talk about how we have a YouTube channel now?
Oh, yeah. We have a YouTube channel now. I'm slowly putting up our episodes, though. I mean, it's more for people, to help people discover us. So if you guys know anyone that's more into watching stuff on YouTube or just listening to stuff on YouTube over, listening to stuff over headphones and podcast-wise, then, yeah, tell them about our YouTube channel.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Smash Fiction.
Nice Kirk cadence there.
Guess what? We have a surprise for you, just for you, listener, because we love you. We're going to release our next episode of Extraordinary League early on Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah, not Sunday.
Yeah,
Friday.
there we
bitches.
go. There we go. Yeah. We will be returning to our regularly scheduled programming the week after, and it will be Ash Ketchum versus Jurassic Park.
Smash Fiction is produced by Miles Schneiderman, with logo designed by Colin Mulcairn.
Special thanks to Kevin MacLeod for our theme song, which is called Hitman. You can find his work at www.incompetech.com.
You can follow the Smash Fiction podcast on Twitter at SmashFicPodcast and search for us on Facebook and Tumblr.
Subscribe on iTunes, and if you leave us a good review, we shall become more powerful than you can possibly imagine.
If you have any suggestions, feedback, or other contributions, send them to us at smashfictionpodcast@gmail.com and help us continue the fight.
Do you think the Rhodians are super offended by the shooting jokes? Maybe that was a big racial issue afterward. Anyway, sorry, I'm bringing up social.
Oh, trying to make that. Stop it. Yellow card.
I'm all about social justice. Anyway. I mean,
It's really cool for me to keep eating carrots like this the whole time, right?
No.
That's his thing now. That's his bit.
I'm the carrot guy.
Looks for hands and eats carrots.